This is my studio in Newburgh. It's a large studio. I'm very excited to have this space to work. However, I do a lot of large scale installations. And so oftentimes I have to go outside of my studio to do the installations. I grew up in a small town in Iowa. My father had the department store on the main square. I was part of a small town group, and it was not until I was 10 years old that I went to the Des Moines Art Center, and that was my first experience seeing actual art. My undergraduate education at the University of Iowa was really good, but it was very traditional. And I started abstract art the senior year of college. I was influenced by astronomy. I also was influenced by electronic music. I won a scholarship to Paris in 1983 to study printmaking at Atelier du Set with Stanley William Hayter. He was a renowned printmaker, and I was one of the last of a long list of artists who had been in his studio. After living in Europe for 2.5 years, I moved to New York and started grad school at Hunter College. And then I landed in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, actually South Williamsburg. The art market had crashed in 1987, and all the artists left the East Village to Brooklyn on the waterfront. This was a really interesting time to be an artist. I was actually one of the most normal ones, I think, of my friends, because I had an actual job as a handbag designer in the garment district. The Trouble series began in 1993, thinking about the earth, and I was collecting tons of plastic bags because you couldn't recycle them, and I was stuffing them with newspapers, wrapping them with tape, and I had no idea that this installation would become my first kinetic piece. These are plastic shopping bags, and then newspaper, and then artist tape. It got a little out of control. I started to figure out how to bring all these balls together, how to control them. I started using the pantyhose here to contain the balls. And this piece was molecular structures. It was a little creepy. I was thinking about the pantyhose, and the balls sort of became almost like sausages or intestinal body things. I was thinking about feminism, the body politic, being a woman in New York City, and also just creating structures and shapes. Sort of everything became like a mutant. So mutant, globular, cellular, tubular tumors, or gross, malignant growths that, were almost alien in a way. And then I started exploring just the webs themselves, just the structures that can be created with the nylon lycra fabric of pantyhose and tights. I really like the transparency and translucency and the way the color reacts to what it is covering. Around 2011, I lived in Waltham, Mass, which had a little artsy community, and there was a project called Windows on Waltham, and artists signed up to have different window installations. And I got this giant empty 1,100 square foot empty abandoned toy store. So I took my inspiration, and I spent on and off over the summer creating this giant installation, and it was fabulous with the light coming in the windows. And this is PEX. And this was like the first time I'm actually using this PEX pipe. And PEX is a plumbing material that is used for water, for radiant floor heat, etc. This is my very first tendrils piece in Watertown, Massachusetts, for an exhibition called Drawing the Line. And my idea was to create a drawing in space. In 2013, I moved to Newburgh, found a studio, set up shop, got windows in my studio, and participated in open studios. So the most recent piece I did was a giant tendril at the Holland Tunnel Gallery. So this is how I built it. I built it right on site in the gallery space. It started out with the structure, and then I started the wrapping. I cut the pantyhose into just long strips. It's a really interesting that I have found two different paths, but both have color and both have content and meaning, but different things that I'm wanting to talk about. So I'm talking about more science and math and Fibonacci curves and geometry in the pantyhose and tendrils pieces. But then I'm also interested in consumerism and social commentary. And so that is what is happening with the pieces with the plastic. I feel it's really important to bring joy to people's lives. And through my art, I hope to convey a sense of whimsy and wonder and hope in our dark times.
This program is made possible in part through the support of New York State Council on the Arts, Orange County Government, Shapiro's Furniture, and from donations from people like you. Please consider making a donation today at www.ocartscouncil.org. Thank you.